Just give us an update and recap the weekend and look ahead.
Yeah, obviously good start. I think we've moved on. Huge match tomorrow night and another huge one on Saturday. And then before we meet again, Nebraska on Tuesday. So a big week ahead. USC is unique. They played the same team twice last week. So scouting's a little bit different, that you see how they matched up against one team rather than multiple teams. Athletic group, really good setter. Yeah, they're playing really good volleyball. Kansas State lost a heartbreaker to a good UC Davis team, but is playing good volleyball. Really talented setter on that team too. That's a big regional battle for us. We recruited a lot against Kansas State. We've got a lot of Kansas kids, so we're gonna be in for it again. And kudos to our crowd. I thought this weekend is one of the best consistent atmospheres for 3 great matches. So hopefully that'll continue into the weekend.
Questions?
I know you said you had moved on from the weekend, but really quick, you were so complimentary of those 3 teams before the Blue Jay Invitational. For you guys to go 9-0 and not drop a set, what do you think that said about you guys on opening weekend?
Well, some of those sets could have gone either way. Thought we were good at endgame, so that's good. I just think the first weekend is such a trap shoot. You maybe come out and you play well, or maybe you fall apart. I've had it both ways. I think the exhibition match is transformational now for us. It usually, a lot of times my lineup changes from the exhibition to the starting match. So those things help a lot. But no, I think we have some good pieces. I just think, we told the team we're doing a lot of good things, but we still have a long way to go. So don't get complacent. Winning a couple matches isn't a season.
Speaking of setters, Kendra, where have you seen her pick up from where she left off, and just getting to see the performance she put together last weekend?
Kinder is a coach on the court. It's so fun to coach her because a lot of our things aren't me telling her what to do. It's discussions with her. Well, what do you think? What should we do here? And we don't always agree on how we're going to approach, but we love those discussions. So that's huge. She's, first thing out of a timeout, like, how's my set distribution? So she's really trying to get everyone involved. Physically just playing really well. Obviously, she's the whole package. She's a great setter, but her defense, I would put her up there with the best liberos in the country, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I had someone say she has too many digs, and I'm like, have you watched us play? Because sometimes she does take balls from players, but what she does more often is she makes plays that no one else can play, that they can make. Thus, her dig numbers go up. And then, she's a great blocker. She just is doing so many things well. And again, it's really fun when players like that are fun to coach, and she is.
On Monday. What did you make from her debut and getting her to see that recognition?
Well, Jaya came out guns a-blazing against North Carolina State. She was unreal in that match. She is a total work in progress, and it's going to be fun to kind of watch her develop. She's a middle. She's played middle pretty much her whole career. She played some outside in club. I think we were a week in before she even realized that, they're playing me a lot on the right, because all of our middles play right side in practice. So anyway, we're trying to do a lot of one-on-one with her. It's back to the basics of where do you start your approach? Are you seeing the block? Things along those lines. So she's got some physical gifts. She's got a huge arm. She's got really long arms. She's obviously tall. So some of those things bode well for right side hitters.
Last week about NC State. Is there anything you expect from USC based on what you've seen on film or just your prior knowledge?
Well, they've got pretty good offensive parity. They get their middles involved a lot. Their setter can distribute from all over the place. And then they're really good on the pins. Both their outsides are formidable, and their right side's got a big arm. And my understanding is their right side was a setter that didn't play much last year, and she's got a whip of an arm. So, and they have some big physical kids. They look really good.
Allie didn't play a ton last year against you, but how do you think she's fit into that, and what do you see on tape from her that could present a challenge?
Yeah, Batenhorst has been a great player since we watched her in high school, so she's outstanding. It looks like she's really carrying a lot of load for them, both in the front and back row. Yeah, I mean, she's one of their go-tos for sure. And I think the different role from her time at Nebraska is she's doing it as a passer and a back row attacker in addition to a front row player.
We've seen like 1, 2, 4, maybe 6 lose this week in the polls.
Yeah.
Is this kind of like, what do you think about the landscape of parity in college volleyball this year in particular, maybe compared to a couple of years in the past or whatever it might be?
Well, I was rooting for Nebraska and Louisville last night because we play them. You always want teams you play to have success. But if I look beyond Creighton volleyball, it's great for our sport. I mean, you alluded to it, but the parity in our sport is continuing to get better and better. It's the same thing that I talk to our players about, that everyone at this level is good. You can never go into a match and not respect them. And I think we saw that with, SMU with, a decisive win against a very good team. And then Penn State, who everyone knows is a great team, but their dismantling of Louisville, a team that has beat several other phenomenal teams earlier. I also think, the rhythm of the non-con is hard. It's midweeks. It's, once you get in a conference, you get a rhythm. You play Friday, Saturday, or you play, whatever your conference rhythm is, you get into it, and non-con is different. And so how do your players manage that? How as coaches do we manage that? I think can also play a factor.
How do you think they fed off the crowd if they did at all? I mean, you mentioned it was a pretty good turnout. How are you hoping to see that again with some big matches this weekend?
Yeah, several of our players talked about it, particularly our student section. They were loud for every match. It was Labor Day weekend. We didn't know whether they were going to come out, so that was great to see. I think it affects us, but I also think it affects the opponents sometimes. Not all teams, but some teams can get rattled by it. So, it's a huge opportunity tomorrow. We don't get a ton of nationally televised games. So for us to be on FS1 tomorrow night, we'll have those national televised games, but in our home gym, so that recruits can see what an incredible atmosphere we have here is big for our program.
How about the thrill of playing on National Cheese Pizza Day?
Yeah, I prefer pepperoni, so I'm not really into it.
If you could break one world record of your choosing, what would it be?
I am not, John, I'm not good at these questions. I don't know. I need prep time. I like to have thought out answers to things like that. Yeah.
Make the world's largest bowl of soup or something.
You obviously didn't have a well thought out answer either. Just kidding.
Everybody else is like 100-meter dash.
Caleb, you should ask our tech coordinator. Caleb Sharman would have great answers to questions like those.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thanks, guys.